Welcome back to our channel, and if this is your first time watching us, my name is Mary. Please, if you're enjoying our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Today we're going to be talking to you about steps and what to expect when you're building a new construction home. So this is a production home, a semi-custom home. Anytime you're building a home in a master plan community, what you can expect step by step. All right, let's get right into it. Step one, and probably the most important step, you want to secure your financing. So this is important because you want to do this before you start going into neighborhoods and looking at houses, because it's going to tell you how much house you can afford. So go ahead and get pre-approved, know how much house you can afford, have an idea of how much of a down payment that you're going to need to bring based on the cost of the home that you're wanting to purchase. Have that information in your mind so that way, as you're looking at homes and as you're beginning to talk about and make upgrades, you're able to kind of cap yourself because you know what a good comfortable point is for you. Next, select the community, select a builder. So we have a video on how to select a community and how to select a builder. If you've not seen it, we do recommend that you go watch it. So after you secure your financing, the next thing you want to do is select the community that you want to be in and go ahead and select the builder that you want to build your home. Next, you want to go over any documents that they may have given you. Make sure you understand what the amenities are in the neighborhood. Make sure you understand your tax rate. Make sure you understand what your build time is going to be, and that you really have a good overview on what's going to happen. A lot of times when you start building these houses, when you start building a new construction home, you're going to have meetings with your builder ever so often. Sometimes it's weekly, sometimes it's bi-weekly. So make sure you have a good overview on what's going to happen in the next steps over the next few months. Next, you want to select your lot and your elevation. So you already selected a builder, you already selected a floor plan. Now based on that floor plan, you need to select the elevation. What do you want the outside of your home to look like? You're going to have multiple options from the builder. One or two may be free and others may cost money. So decide what your elevation is, and then after that you want to make sure you decide what your lot is. A lot of times when you're selecting your floor plan, they will tell you which lots your floor plan are going to be able to fit on, because some lots can only fit certain floor plans. So if you choose a really large floor plan, for example, then they're going to steer you towards the larger lots for you to make a selection from, because that's what your house is going to be able to fit on. Sign your contract and pay the earnest money. Anytime you start a new construction build, after you sign the contract, there's going to be some degree of earnest money that you need to deposit. Typically, earnest money is anywhere from 1% to 2% of what the base price of the house is, so you can expect that. If you're building a $300,000 house, you can expect to put down 1% of $300,000 the day that you sign your contract as your earnest money. Next, I would advise you to complete your assignment on your must-haves. Assignment, I should say loosely. Now, this is what I talked about in another video when I said you want to really sit down and think about, functionally, how do I live in my home? What are some of the structural upgrades that I might want? What are some of the design upgrades that I might want? What are some additional features that I might want in my home that are not a part of the base price of this home? And make sure you break that list into two: your must-haves and your wants. And this is where I also advise you to take a look at Pinterest and really get some ideas, because some of the things that you see that you really like, there are ways to achieve those looks for less. You just need to do your research a little bit, and that's where Pinterest is really helpful, and even searching YouTube for other videos can come really handy. Next, you're going to be making structural upgrades and meeting with the builder or the engineer. So after you sign the contract, typically the builder will want you to get into the design center. Some builders will also want you to sit down with the specific builder that is assigned to your house. And this is where you'll be able to talk about any additional structural upgrades that you're wanting to do. Sometimes they might even want you to do this before you sign the contract of the house, because because those structural upgrades are things that from the beginning, even from the foundation stage, they're gonna, if it's gonna require more foundation to be poured, or it's gonna require more wood to be ordered to make sure there's enough wood to frame the house, they wanna make sure they have that cost to you up front. So you're gonna make any structural changes that you wanna make. This is the time you're also gonna sit down with the engineer and ask for some of the things that may not necessarily be on their option sheet. So for example, when I told you guys about the builder for one of our homes did put in an outdoor kitchen, they had the option where we could pay for an outdoor kitchen. I didn't like the option of what they had in their outdoor kitchen and I wanted more appliances. So this was the point where I talked to the builder and talked to the engineer and say, this is what I want, and then they were able to get back to me with a quote on what that was gonna cost. And also if you're wanting something like a chair and a bench in your shower, and that's not already an option built in, this would be the place for you to have that conversation. Next, you'll be visiting the design center to make your selection for your home. This is where you'll be picking the type of front door you want, your flooring, your cabinets, your everything basically. And so typically, I want to say on average, builders have, in my experience, 2 to 3 design center appointments for you. And each of those design center appointments is going to have a goal on, okay, at this appointment, we need to select all the things for the master bed, all the plumbing, all the appliances, all the lighting, and then the next appointment maybe we need to select all the flooring, all the backsplashes, all the doors and door handles. So depending on how many appointments you have with your builder, just know that they're going to be already broken down in regards to what needs to happen in that appointment. Now, another way to optimize your design center appointments is if, for example, you only have 1 appointment or you only get 2 design center appointments and you don't think you'll be able to make all your decisions within that time frame, I advise you to ask if you can just drive to the design center and see what the options are, so that way, even before you go into your appointment, you already know what the options are in a level 1 or in a level 2, and you're able to already know what you want. And what makes this time really good is that you're able to play with some of those pairings. Like for example, you're able to pick a tile in the level 1 that comes with the house and then pair it with an else. Let's say you want to upgrade your backsplash and then pair it with that upgraded backsplash. So it really gives you more time to look at that material together, take pictures, create your collages, to where it's not during your design center appointment where you feel rushed, like you need to make a decision immediately. Next, you're going to need to finalize your design center selections. So after you've gone to your 2 design center appointments, they will go ahead and put everything on a document for you that spells out these are the things that you chose. In that same document, you're going of your home selections, you're also going to see what the price of everything is, or if it's something that's already included in the cost of the home, then it's not going to have a price associated with it. The following step is you will now have to pay a percentage of any upgrades you made to that house. So let's say at the design center you spent $50,000 making upgrades or selections. Just know that you will have to pay a percentage of that. So can't recall, I want to say the last time I did design center upgrade, we ended up paying somewhere around $13,000 upfront. I don't know. I can't remember. But ask your builder ahead of time, even before you sign the contract, on what that upgrade of percentage you'll have to pay is, and this would be the time you would make that payment. So while you're going to the design center and doing all of that good stuff, because your contract is already signed, this is the time that your builder is getting the permits and all the other things that they need in order to actually break ground to start building your home. So while you're going to the design center and deciding on these upgrades and things, you can also check in with your builder and ask, you know, are they clear to potentially start clearing the lot, and where are they in regards to permitting and things. And a lot of times they're not going to want to clear the lot until you've made your selections at the design center, just so they can get everything ordered and there's not significant delays. Next is going to come your land clearing. They're going to come in, bring in equipment, they're going to clear your land, and they're going to go, this is the point where if you were not already having weekly meetings with your builder or your rep, you will now start to have weekly meetings with that individual because they've actually actively started working on the house, and they're going to be giving you feedback and updates. And then another thing to keep in mind in regards to those builder meetings is their inspections at certain stages that the builder is supposed to have done to the house. So when you're having these meetings, you want to ask them how their inspection went for these different stages and get any feedback you can, and also ask them if you can actually see the third-party inspection report. The land is already cleared. Now they're going to put your forms. Think of it as like marking out like the outer perimeter of your home. So the forms is eventually what, you know, where all the digging is going to occur inside to create your foundation. There's going to be an inspection that needs to occur to make sure that the forms were laid properly. They do begin to run your plumbing at this stage, and then they're going to pour your foundation. After they pour your foundation, there should be an inspection that occurs just to make sure that everything was done properly, your foundation looks good, and everything is sound. Next, you're going to have framing. So that's where they begin to put up the 2x6s or the 2x4s and build up the actual like walls of the home. So when framing is complete, you will be able to walk in, like you'll be able to see, this is my front door, this is this bedroom, this is that bedroom. Of course, there's not gonna be drywall or anything up yet, but when framing is done, you should be able to see the general structure of the house. And also what comes with that is roofing towards the end of that. They need to make sure that they complete the framing for the roof, and then the roofing company is actually going to come and complete their part in adding the shingles and all of that good stuff. Now, your windows would also be going into the home at this point. Plumbers are also going to come back and start running piping through the home based on what they initially put into the ground. And the electricians are also going to come into the home at this point and start running the electrical for the home. All of this good stuff is going on the inside. On the outside, exterior, so whatever material you have on the exterior of your home, if it's brick, if it's stucco, if it's stone, that material is starting to go up onto the house. And then in the inside, your plumbers may still be working, the electricians may still be working, and then your low voltage guys. So your low voltage wiring is like any of that surround sound that you may have put into the home. But yeah, at this point is when your low voltage guys would come into the home and run their wiring. It's also possible that while all of this is going on, that your HVAC guys would also be in the home. It just depends on the builder. A lot of times HVAC, it's good for the HVAC to start being ran after the plumber and the electrician has preliminary come into the home. Typically when this part of the project is done, there's also another inspection that would happen at this point, just to make sure that all of the electrical was ran properly, all of the plumbing was ran properly, making sure there's strike plates in the right places, so that, for example, striking plates is to protect the tubing that they run behind the wall. Because, for example, you don't want to be drilling to hang a picture up and then you hit a pipe behind your wall. So there are certain places that strike plates are supposed to be. So doing and making sure that the builder doing an inspection at this point, make sure that all of those things are how they're supposed to be, and that if there were any holes or penetration on the exterior of the home while any of this piping or tubing are being ran, that those are sealed properly. The inspection at this point also makes sure that all of the windows that were installed properly, the nails are going into the studs properly for the framing. So they're really making sure that everything is sound inside the wall, because once drywall goes up, you're no longer able to see what was ran inside the wall or to know where the problem is starting from. be insulation. So depending on the type of insulation you're having, you might see them come in like big sheets that they roll out, or they might come in these little things that look like foam, little tiny balls that they blow into the different spaces. So there are different type of insulation options, but this is when your insulation would be occurring in the home. Next, everything that is supposed to be inside the wall is now there. After the insulation has gone in, so drywall is going to come next. So they're going to come in with big 4 feet by 8 feet drywall sheets, and you're going to see that when they hang the drywall, they screw them into the wall first, and then after that they tape up the joints where they meet, and then they're going to mud over those joints, and then eventually they spray the texture onto the drywall. At this point, you may see your trim carpenter begin to come into the home, or you may see your flooring guys begin to come into the home. This just depends on the builder. Sometimes the trim will come in first. So what trim is responsible for is all of your baseboards and crown molding. Trim is also responsible for hanging all of your interior doors and making sure that they're functioning properly. Let's see, if you have any additional trim work that you want done, let's say you want extra pieces of crown molding somewhere, or you want beams in your ceiling, these are the guys that would also do that work. At this time, next, flooring could also be occurring. So this process, don't be surprised if you see your trim guys come before your flooring guys. Don't be surprised if you see your flooring guys come before your trim guys. But next, flooring would come in and they would start to lay all of your flooring. What I've typically seen is that they lay areas of hard flooring first. So anywhere that you have tile or wood floors, they would typically lay all of those areas first, and then they would cover it with really big thick sheets, so that as more work is ongoing in the house, that flooring isn't destroyed. And then later, closer to the completion of the home, the flooring guys will come back to put in carpet. But when I say the flooring guys will come back, that's relative, because whoever's putting in your tile and your wood is typically not the same company that's going to put in, it's typically not the same person that's going to put in your carpet. A lot of times what I've seen people do is use separate companies. One, so your tile guys and your wood flooring guys may be different from the guys that actually eventually put your carpet into those carpeted areas. At this point, the house is going to really begin to look like a home. You'll begin to see that your cabinets are coming into the home. You'll see that the plumbers are coming back to install toilets if they've not already put that in there already. You'll see your electricians are coming back and they're installing your recessed lighting, any lighting you have, your chandeliers. Your electricians are now back doing all of that good stuff. At this point, as the house is really now beginning to look like a home and coming together, I say this is a good time for you to start talking to your bank again, making sure that you have your final approval in place, making sure that you've locked in your rate. A lot of banks will lock in your rate as far as 60 days ahead of time. Some will even do more. So make sure that you're talking to your bank, make sure that you have your final approval, because you might have gone in saying, I want to purchase a $350,000 house, but then after all of your upgrades, now you're at $400,000. So you want to make sure you have that final approval for everything, and that everything is the way that it should be in regards to your finances. Now going back to the house, you'll see painters coming into the home. They'll begin to paint the house. You begin to see little final details and finishing going into the home. At this point, you might see your countertops going in. Just basically anything that you haven't seen go in yet, this will be the stage that all of those items are going in regards to the interior of the home. On the exterior of the home, they would also be painting things like your garage doors, your gutters, your soffit, any trim you have on the exterior. If they had not installed the gutters already, they would be installing those so that they could paint them. And next, your landscaping. So per the neighborhood requirements, whatever the number of trees or the number of plants or types of plants, the builder would make sure that those requirements were met and that those things were put in. Next, A fence. So dependent on where your house is, a lot of our homes here in Texas, the communities do require the builder to go ahead and put in a fence when they're building the home. And if that's the case, this is where your fence would now go in, just making sure that your property is demarcated and you have that privacy, and yeah, that's what would be happening. So at this point, when you begin to see final finishes going into the home, I think this would be a good time for you to start to talk to your realtor if you have one and get recommendations for home inspectors. You really want to make sure that you do a final home inspection on your home. Any inspections that have happened beforehand, you wouldn't have had to get an inspector to do that. During the home building process, the builder is required to have some of those inspections done. If you want to have your inspector do step-by-step inspections during the build of the house, that is allowable and very possible as well. But if you didn't do that, I do recommend that at the end of the build, you do have an inspector come into the home. Now, during the final stage inspection, an inspector is not necessarily going to be able to see what was ran behind the wall, but the good thing about this is they'll come in and make sure everything is functioning properly. They do have some equipment where they'll be able to test certain things in regards to making sure the right amount of power is going through a space, so going through a line, making sure that you don't have moisture behind your walls. So there's really great benefit to having an inspector come in and take a look at your home. They will go ahead and complete an inspection report, which you can then provide to your builder and have the builder make those repairs prior to your home being officially completed and you closing on that home. Next, you're going to have a final walkthrough. During your final walkthrough is a good time to, if you've not already given your builder the inspection report, to go ahead and give them your inspector's report so that they're able to take a look at those things the inspector pointed out as you're doing that final walkthrough in the home. This will also be a good time for you guys to walk around the house, see any cosmetic things that you're just not happy with, and bring that to the attention of the builder so those things can be repaired. I say also take your spec sheet with you, your spec sheet, that the updated one that they gave you after the design center, that spelled out all the things that you upgraded in your home, just to make sure that all of those things were done in the manner that you wanted, and just to make sure you're able to recall all of those things that you initially said that you wanted in your home. Following this final walkthrough, you would want to make sure that you touch base with your builder and make sure you have an understanding of the timeline of when these repairs that were needed from the inspection report or things that you've marked, when they will be completed. So that way you're just able to coordinate everything in regards to your bank on when closing needs to be, making sure that whatever interest rate that you've locked down, that you're still within the time frame that you locked it down, and that everything is still going according to plan. Next is the day that you've been waiting for, closing day. So closing, basically what happens is you and rep for your builder are going to meet at the title company that your builder closes their homes at, and you're going to bring your down payment for your home to that meeting. Most of the time the bank is going to want it to be a cashier's check of some sort. So know that whatever earnest money you put down at the beginning when you sign the contract of the house and the percentage of the design center upgrades that you put down, both of those items are going to be deducted from the final cost of like what you need to bring with you for your down payment for that home. So you get credit for all those monies that you paid up front. So you've closed on the house now. Guys, don't be surprised if on closing day or even a couple of days after closing, you still get people ringing your doorbell. The painter may still need, to touch up some spots, or there are just some things that needed to be completed here and there that just were not finalized prior to closing. I don't want you to be shocked about that. And you might move, there's situations where you think everything's done, everything's great, and then you go ahead and move in, and then you open the door of a cabinet that you maybe didn't open during the final walkthrough and realize something is wrong, and you still need to have the builder call someone back out. So that's normal. At this point, any work that you wanted done that you needed to wait till closing for, you can go ahead and start having those guys come into the home. So if you wanted to change out your, some of your carpet immediately, or you wanted to change out, some of your countertops immediately, or you wanted some chandeliers hung that you've purchased from Wayfair, whatever it is that you wanted done that you couldn't have done while the home was being built, this would be the time that those individuals can start coming into the homes to have those things done for you. All right, guys, so that's a beginning to end on the different steps and the different points that you can expect during the construction of your new construction home. We hope you have a better understanding of the beginning to end of building a new construction home step by step. If you have any additional questions or any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. We truly appreciate your time, and stay tuned for our next video. Until next time, enjoy, fam.